remarkable. So, yeah, just try and stay out of the trouble and see where we end up, I guess.
Fingers crossed. Well done, Louis. Or Leo, I should say. Get his name right. That's good. That is a good start, isn't it? Alex Kite, another driver for the Pro Alloys. What are you, the 17th Pro Alloys driver on this grid so far?
85th, I think.
85th? Yeah, there's quite a few of you. P13 on the grid. Were you happy with the result?
It's a little bit of a mare we had. We had a steering problem on the rear of the car, so the toe changed halfway around the lap, and it just put the car out for the rest of it. So yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare. So we're a little bit further back than where we wanted to be. So we were stonking yesterday, so hopefully it's all sorted now, so we can try and pick our way back through.
It's going to be a challenge, of course. These races are always exciting. They're always a challenge. Going in towards turn 1 and turn 2, the pinch point, a lot of the drivers calling turn 2. How do you reckon in the mid-pack's going to feel?
I don't know. We're right in the middle of it here. So yeah, I think it's just keeping our nose clean for the first couple of laps and then just sort ourselves out. But yeah, I think if we can just try and finish both races with minimal damage, I think we'll be going well.
That'll be the result, won't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, best of luck. We'll see you out there. Can't miss him. You'll see him with the light blue roof, and which they've all got different kind of roof and wing mirror covers. Daniel McDonald. Is Daniel here? Yes, he is. Daniel, how are you feeling going ahead of this one? Are you primed and ready?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, we improved a lot from practice yesterday to practice today. Qualifying set basically the exact same lap time, so I'm ready. I know there's time on the board, it's about a second somewhere, but just got to find it.
So the consistency is there, which a lot of people say consistency is key.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's perfect. I mean, it took me a few laps to get there, but I mean, I'm happy with the progress I've had. I haven't had any pre-season testing or anything, so I'm happy with everything, and I just need to get more aggressive really from last year. I wasn't as aggressive. I lost some spots at the start. So getting more aggressive and maybe make some more places up.
Yeah, that would be the one to see, won't it? Well, best of luck out there. Enjoy that one. I want to chat to Jack Ruddle just very quickly. Again, one of our youngest drivers. Jack, again, are you happy with qualifying?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with qualifying. I feel like I'm not far off the pace of the guys in front. I can easily push forward, so yeah, we'll see how it goes, to be honest.
Strat going into turns 1 and 2, what are you thinking?
Just kind of stay on the inside for turn 1 and stay on the inside for turn 2, to be honest, and then move across to the left for turn 3.
So
on the inside. Yeah.
So far in the championship, obviously this is your first year in Civic Cup. How have you found it so far, practice qualifying wise?
Yeah, it's pretty going very well, thanks. Yeah, very well.
A race is a different kettle of fish, though, isn't it? So it's going to be elbows out, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, keep a close eye on it. We'll wish you the best of luck, Jack, and enjoy that one. Now, I'm not saying Luke Sargent's got bad taste in his helmet designs, but what's going on there? What is that?
We're on for a joke, and it's just been on there ever since. My new helmet was meant to be done on Friday, and it isn't ready, so I like it. It's different.
And what's this?
The best pizza place where I live. I go there every Thursday for a pizza. I'm hoping for a discount as well, so hopefully when they see it, I might get a discount on my next few pizzas.
Well, there you go. I might have to pop by and have a look myself. Qualifying, did it go the way you wanted it to?
I want to be further forward than I am, but I'm a novice. I don't really know the car, so it was, yeah, I think the race pace will be all right. We had some few issues with it. Basically, the clutch up, it was not crunching, but it wasn't making second gear very well at the hairpins, so I was losing time there. It's done, so hopefully we can make a few at the start, and we're aiming to get towards top 10. That's what we want to be. I think the pace is there to get there, so we'll see how we get on. And
anything's possible. Anything's possible. Wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers.
Luke Sargent there we go. He's sporting many interesting stickers. Tom Knight's just here. He's just getting himself seated, suited and booted. Not sure if we can squeeze in or if he's having a chat. Can I quickly jump in there? Tom, pretty decent qualifying, P17. Were you happy with the result?
Yeah, happy-ish. I told you these boys were quick. But yeah, I'm getting quicker every session, so that's a positive. Not where I wanted to be, not used to being back here, but like I said, these boys are quick. So I'm learning the car, getting to grips and just getting some more seat time.
First race coming up, and what are your predictions? Where do you think you could end this one?
I don't know. I mean, I just want to stay out of trouble and try and climb as high as I can.
Yeah, that's going to be the main thing, isn't it? Best of luck, mate. We'll wish you all the best out there as I'm getting hooked on the car there. Cheers, boys. Thank you very much. Just alongside James Ramsden, who's in here, also getting suited and booted. Well, firstly, James, what's with the plaster on your finger?
I know, yeah. Cut it up in the nose for the motorhome.
Why'd you do that?
Yeah, well, I didn't do it on purpose, did I?
Qualifying went, did it go your way? Not good?
Struggling with the car setup a little bit, but still new to it, so we'll get there eventually, hopefully.
I mean, race one coming up very, very soon, and, you know, what do you reckon you can do from here?
I don't know, I'd like to finish top half. I'll be happy with top half in first race. Yeah, I think that'll be a decent achievement first time out.
Despite struggling with the setup, you still happy overall with the car?
Happy with it, yeah, going well so far, yeah.
Oh.
Just the fine adjustments, isn't it?
Exactly, just those little bits out there. Best of luck, mate. Enjoy your session, as I'm getting hooked on all sorts of cars here. Right, a little further back, Adam Jones here. He's chatting away, squeezing here. Adam, again, another one. Are you the, what I think we saw, the 87th Pro Alloys driver over there? You're the 89th?
Yeah, exactly. It's a big team, but we're all working together really hard. So.
Now, while you're out there, of course, if you end up with a battle with 3 other of your teammates out there, is there team orders, or are you just going for leather in each one?
Well, I think the team orders don't take each other off, so bring it back in one piece. We've had a hard weekend so far, so just try and keep it all clean.
I think that's racing driver rule number 1, is don't smack your teammate off, and you've got many teammates out there, so you've got to be very careful.
Yeah, there's a lot of targets, so...
Targets? No, targets is the wrong word. It's the wrong word. Don't listen to him at all. I think the cars are going to be heading out in just a moment's time. We've got Jordan Brennan here. Jordan, quick one out there. Well, an interesting qualifying session for you. How are you feeling ahead of this one?
Yeah, struggling with the car a little bit. The car's feeling good, so I'm just struggling myself. Just trying to get comfortable with the car again after last year. So just finding my feet again.
It's a challenging grid this year. There is many out there. It's a full grid of 30, and everyone's in the same class this time around. There's no 2 classes, so everyone is a rival, really, aren't they?
Yeah. It's going to be I think it's going to be a messy race, this one, but we'll see what we can do in it.
There's a lot of drivers saying key words here that I don't like. We've got messy, carnage, targets. Don't. Any others you want to get out?
No.
Good. Everyone's learning from that one. Brilliant. Then we come to the first of the FN2s. Now, this is Dave Marshall that we've got here. Dave, go on. We spoke to you at the start of quali as well. We'll speak to you here. I believe you're the first of the FN2s. Am I right in saying that? Yeah, I think you are.
Yeah. It wasn't a bad quali session. We went a bit stiffer on the rear, and it seemed to help. So even though we're around the same lap time as the cars around us, we're 8 mile an hour down on the straight. So it means we're obviously finding something somewhere, but then, we'll see what happens. But I imagine any work that I managed to get done at the start of the race, I'll probably be undone by the time we get the bridge. But we'll make the best of a bad scenario, eh?
Exactly that. And like you say, this is one of those circuits where it's kind of the best of both, isn't it? There's lots of corners, but there's lots of long straights as well, and it's just one of those 50-50 tracks, isn't it?
I'll be true. I think it's a power track. Yeah. You're in a scenario where basically all the corners bar 2 hairpins are 3rd, 4th gear. So you really rely on that grunt to really pull you to the next corner. So you've got main pit lane straight, then after turn 4, it's another good long stretch down to a good overtaking opportunity. So it's going to be hard trying to go forward as well as defend with such a slow motor. But we're getting there. We're having fun is the main thing.
That's the main thing. Make the car as wide as possible.
Yeah, well, it already is pretty wide.
Well, yeah. Brilliant stuff. Good luck there, Dave Marshall, like you say, leading of the first of the FN2s out there. Just next to him, Adam Kruger, who's just having the final words, but I think they're heading out on track now, so we might have to cut it there. We'll head back up to the commentary box in just a moment. We'll take a short ad break. The first race of the Milltek Sport Civic Cup of 2023 is about to get underway.
for voice and data solutions at speeds that are simply out of this world. Choose Maximum Networks.
On the grid now, ready for their first 15-minute racing action of the season. It is actually the third time that the Civic drivers have been on track today, though. They had a free practice session this morning, a very entertaining qualifying session earlier on this afternoon that saw Dan Thackeray snatch the pole position by less than a tenth of a second over Morgan Bailey. But now we have a 15-minute race to kickstart their season proper, and it's going to be, I'm sure, another exciting one. Interestingly, by the way, for stats fans, the margin of pole position between Dan Thackeray and Morgan Bailey in this session was exactly the same margin of pole position as it was between Brad Kent and Josh Files in the TCR qualifying session that we enjoyed earlier on. 78 1,000ths of a second. So there you go. They say Civic Cup is a feeder series to TCR UK, and they are very much setting the example to each other so far this weekend. It was a very, very close qualifying session, though. We had the top 8 cars covered by less than a second, and virtually nothing actually covering the top couple of rows, 0.2 of a second between Dan Thackeray, Morgan Bailey, Jack Harding and Will Redford, who make up those front 2 rows of the grid. And really, any one of those 4 drivers could win the race. Any one of those 4 drivers could win the championship, quite frankly. They are all drivers who I think have been mentioned as championship contenders this season. And they have started their campaign off pretty well, it must be said. And of course, for Thackeray and Bailey, who lined up on the front row of the grid, they were both championship contenders when we were last at Snetterton at the back end of 2022 in what was a thrilling championship decider. So the 30-second board then is held aloft on the starting gantry. Green flag lap will be underway very shortly. And yeah, cast your minds back to that frankly chaotic final race of the season last year. At some point, I'll stop talking about that race. It might be in 20 years from now, because it truly was the most remarkable conclusion to a championship. 4 drivers went into the last round with a shot. Matt Luff, Morgan Bailey, Alistair Camp and Dan Thackeray. Matt Luff was the championship leader and in some ways the favourite, but got turned into the barriers with a couple of laps to go at turn 1, dropped out of the championship lead and somehow managed to scrabble back to the line to win the championship by 3 points in the end, despite having a car that was leaking radiator coolant all over what was already a damp and slippery track. That caught out Will Redford, who was leading the race by 10+ seconds, and he'll definitely be looking for a bit of retribution for that, having qualified on the second row of the grid here today. Matt Luff, of course, moving on to race in Ford Fiestas. You can head over to BRSCC's YouTube page after this race to see how our reigning Civic Cup champion gets on. Here is how the grid looks then. It's Dan Thackeray on pole position with Morgan Bailey alongside. As I said, just those 78,000ths of a second between them at the end of a very closely fought qualifying session. Jack Harding and Will Redford will share row 2. Ex-MX5 racer Jack Harding really looking to build a championship campaign this year. Danny Hobson then lines up 5th on the grid. That was a bit of a surprise from qualifying. A pleasant one though. Good to see Danny on the pace. And the former champion Alistair Camp down in 6th. He's got a little bit of work to do. Row 4 then is where you find Louis Capazzoli and Harvey Caton, the youngster who impressed on his debut season last year, looking to try and again become a regular contender this season. Max Edmondson and Ryan Bensley are next. Good to have Bensley back. He had his 2022 season curtailed after a nasty crash at Castle Combe, and he will complete the top 10 here today ahead of Sam Nicolau and Leonardo Padiotu, completing the top dozen. Row 7 of the grid then is where you find Alex Kite, who again, has done the odd round in Civic Cup before. He's also raced in TCR occasionally. He lines up 13th ahead of Daniel McDonald. Then Jack Riddell, the 16-year-old, ahead of Luke Sargent, who we will be seeing in TCR action later on this season. Row 9 then shared by Tom Knight and James Ramsden. The top 20 will be completed by Adam Jones and the returning Jordan Brennan, who again had his season curtailed after a nasty accident at Alton Park last year. He's got the same car repaired after that big shunt, and he'll be starting the 10th row of the grid. Row 11 then for the number 66 car of Dave Marshall, with number 86 alongside him, Adam Kruger. Owen Hillman a lot further back than you might expect from Owen. He's 23rd alongside Nick Charlier, with Mark Hughes, Anthony Gannon and Jeff Alden perhaps at the back. I say perhaps because those of you who tuned in for qualifying earlier on this afternoon will well remember that Jeff Alden's car had a very spectacular engine failure pretty early in the session. Blew up in very smoky fashion at the end of the Bentley Straight and had to pull over, having not set a lap time. I'd be surprised if that car gets out for this race. The same perhaps will be true of Jackson White, who was disqualified for qualifying. He should be out there actually, but will be starting from the back. Travis Chapman also had some mechanical issues earlier on, and we may or may not see the number 77 car out on the circuit. So lots has changed in the Civic Cup over the winter, including the points system. I referred to this in qualifying earlier on, but they are essentially now copying the TCR UK point system again, further aligning this championship as a feeder series for TCR UK. So the race winner last year would have scored 25 championship points. This year, a race win is worth 40 championship points, 35 points for second, 30 for third, then 27, 24, 21, and so on down to 1 point for 15th place. Fastest lap is still worth a bonus point, but we already have a championship leader because new for 2023, at least in the Civic Cup, again, this is a TCR regulation that's been carried over, is qualifying points. So you score 6 championship points for qualifying on pole position. So Dan Thackeray is the championship leader. 5 points went to Morgan Bailey, 4 to Jack Harding, 3 to Will Redford, 2 for Danny Hobson, and 1 to Alistair Camp. So those are the top 6 in the championship after qualifying earlier on today. But how much will the results of this race shake that up, I wonder? It's a big grid of cars. We were hoping for 30 this weekend. Looks like we're going to fall just short of that, with a couple having issues earlier on in the weekend. But we are hoping that the 20-odd cars, 27 or so cars that should take the start, are going to put on a show. They probably will, because Milltek Sports Civic Cup action is never dull, and the 2023 season is shaping up to be as competitive as ever. 15 minutes on the clock. Dan Thackeray on pole position alongside Morgan Bailey from row 1, 2 of the title contenders from a year ago, looking to try and win the championship in 2023. The red lights on the starting gantry will go on. The revs will start to rise. Away they will go. We're racing in 2023, and Dan Thackeray from pole position has made a pretty good start. Harvey Caton away not that well there from the back end of the top 10. Dave Marshall gaining some ground up the middle of the road further back too, but it will be the pole sitter Thackeray who leads them through to 1. Bailey in second position. Third, I think, is still Jack Harding, with Will Redford trying to go around the outside of him in fourth. There is the Liquid Molly car of Jordan Brennan a bit further back. They all fight for clear track now into the braking zone at the hairpin on the inside, though. Oh, that's Max Edmondson. Surely he's not going to avoid contact. Somehow he did, and he gains 2 or 3 positions in the process. The purple and yellow car on the move, and Max Edmondson from 9th, getting his elbows out already. Harvey Caton there, almost getting into the back of someone as they turn their way into Palmer's for the first time, but miraculously they all get through the first few corners unscathed. Down towards Agostini, the race leader Thackeray defending the inside line. Morgan Bailey looks to the outside line, and further back, Louis Campasoli going up the inside into Agostini, but isn't quite able to make a move stick. Again, they're all just about avoiding leaning on each other too hard here, despite some very ambitious lunges into braking zones. They've not really fully sorted it out yet either. That's Danny Hobson and Max Edmondson, I think, going wheel to wheel. And that might be Ryan Bensley just behind them as well. I think it is. Yes, the number 14 car joining in the fun too. Out of Oggies, up towards the right-hander at Williams. Max Edmondson running with Area Motorsport this year. Has got Bensley in the Pro Alloys car right behind him. And out onto the back straight they will go. So Thackeray leads the way, new livery for him as well this year to get used to, the black and gold. Morgan Bailey's familiar red and white though, right behind him. We know that Morgan Bailey is capable of being aggressive, and look at this for a move round the outside at Brundle to get the inside for Nelson Corner. Morgan Bailey hits the front. That was a sensational move on cold tyres as well, remember, when in theory confidence in the rear end should be a bit low, but Morgan Bailey never lacks in confidence, and he just showed it there with a sensational pass to steal the lead away from Dan Thackeray. So Bailey down towards the final corner at Murray's then. Looks as though he's going to lead the opening lap. Thackeray second, Harding third, fourth Will Redford, and then who is that in fifth position? That might, oh, there's a slippery surface flag. We'll get to that in a moment then. Slippery surface flag at the first corner, was that? Couldn't quite tell. Leaders through though. Marshall Post 5, I'm hearing, which will be somewhere around Williams, around Palmer's or Agostini, I think. Will Redford there at the inside of Jack Harding. To answer my question about who's fifth, that is Louis Capezzoli, who has had a really good start from 7th on the grid to be in the top 5, but he's off at Ridge's corner. Capezzoli sideways through the dirt, bounces back onto the road, retains 5th place. Thackeray to the outside of Morgan Bailey. Anything you can do, Morgan, I can at least try and do myself, but actually Morgan Bailey had the traction on the inside line, and Thackeray has to drop back in behind him. But this is exactly what we were hoping from these top 4 drivers. Oh, look at the dirt. That's what the slippery surface was about. It's rallycross through the 3rd corner, and all of the top 4 cars slide off the edge of the road. That is, it's like a farmer's field going through Palmer's corner. So much mud and dirt on the track, and I'm amazed they all managed to keep going in the right direction. They're still flinging themselves off in the background. I'm almost surprised that a safety car hasn't been called for that, because that clearly is not the ideal track conditions through Palmer's, a corner where you're really leaning on the car as well. A really quick left-hander over a crest, the car goes light, and all of a sudden you're on a rally stage. That was remarkable stuff. They're all still there though, and they're all still really close together. The point I was starting to make is that based on how close the qualifying times were between these top 4, I was really hoping that we'd see this sort of close racing, and that's exactly what we're getting. Further back there, Alistair Camp, though, is having a bit of a nightmare. So too Danny Hobson. Danny Hobson and Alistair Camp shared the 3rd row of the grid, but Hobson was 9th after lap 1. Camp was 6th, but he's gone backwards since then and was about 8th, I think, going out onto the Bentley Straight. So through Brundle and Nelson we go for the 2nd time then. Morgan Bailey trying to make good his escape. Capezzoli running really well in 5th position as well. Then is Edmondson in 6th, 7th Bensley, 8th for Camp, 9th Hobson, 10th for Harvey Caton as they turn towards the bomb hole on lap number 2. And everyone just now trying to catch their breath a little bit, waiting to see what the track conditions are like at Palmer's again this time, because although a little bit of the racing line has been cleared, I'm not convinced it's going to be at full grip levels this time around. Back through we go then. End of lap number 2. Morgan Bailey enjoys a half a second lead now over Dan Thackeray. And Morgan Bailey sets the new fastest lap of the race. Jack Harding peeking to the outside there in the Townsend vehicle hire car. Oh, Morgan Bailey's got a problem, has he? Yes, he has. I don't believe it. Morgan Bailey from the race lead, pulling over out of the 1st corner. Thackeray leads again, but now Harding goes off. Jack Harding straight on at the Wilson hairpin. What is going on? There is something about the Civic Cup at Snetterton that guarantees drama and unpredictability. Jack Harding throwing himself off the road. I don't know what's going on with Morgan Bailey's car. Now remember, he had a gearbox problem in qualifying. We heard it reported that he pulled in early in qualifying, and that was due to a gearbox issue. It looked like they'd fixed the problem. Obviously they have not, so Bailey is plummeting down the order. Jack Harding is only now going back past him. Harding's busy battling with Harvey Caton and Danny Hobson, who were at the back end of the top 10 at the start of the lap. So they'll have gained a couple of places now, but that still means that Harding's down in 7th or 8th, I reckon, with Hobson trying to get back up the inside of him again. So Thackeray back to the lead. Redford will be second. They're off the track again going through Hamilton. That was Harding out wide. Hobson goes to the outside of him and Caton into Oggies. They've just madness descending upon Snetterton once again in the Milltek Sports Civic Cup, and we're only 6 minutes into this 15-minute race. This is fantastic stuff. Race of the day so far, that is for sure. And out onto the Bentley Straight they will go. There is Thackeray. Redford 2nd somehow. Louis Capezzoli, who started 7th, is now in 3rd position with Max Edmondson 4th, and he started 9th on the grid. Ryan Bensley comes through next in 5th position. Then Alistair Camp somehow through all of this has ended up exactly where he started in 6th. Then Jack Harding, then Harvey Caton, and then Danny Hobson. I think that's Paniotu, isn't it, who's inside the top 10. No, it's 65, sorry, Sam Nicolau, another new car and driver to get used to at the start of the season. Right, that was lap 3, everyone. Place your bets. What's going to happen on lap 4 now? Every single lap of this race has had something crazy and unpredictable happen on it. Are things going to start settling down now, or is there still another twist in the tail? Fastest lap for Louis Cappozzoli. Well, that's definitely something you wouldn't have predicted based on qualifying times. And the man in 3rd position probably can't believe his luck now that he's running in the top 3. Edmondson goes through 4th, and that could now become the battle, really, for 4th position. Edmondson and Bensley, those two pretty evenly matched, I would say. And, of course, Jack Harding looking now to recover from the bizarre moment that he had down here at the Wilson hairpin. Looked as though he was being handed 2nd place, but he was also trying to overtake Dan Thackeray at the same time. Tried to go to the outside and just couldn't get the car wound up for the hairpin. Straight on he went, and he is 7th at the end of that 3rd lap, excuse me. It's the brakes into Agostini. One of the Pro Alloys cars, that's Alex Kite there, number 97, who is very late on the brakes and throws it up the inside of Paniotto and takes that place away. So Paniotto lost some ground on that lap as well, because he's, well, he was 11th, he's now 12th after that move. Brilliant move, by the way, by Alex Kite on the inside line. So Alex Kite, despite all of this, still isn't inside the top 10. Where did Alex start? He started 13th, so he picked up 2 spots, but he may have got roughed up a bit in the early stages because he's a driver I think many of us expected to be a bit further up than that. So down the Bentley straight they go again. Dare I say it, no, never mind. That is Owen Hillman off. I was about to say those infamous words. Things are starting to calm down, and then Owen Hillman ends up off the road. He is at least pointing the right way and gets going again. That looks like Hamilton, perhaps, where that particular Pro Alloys car had found itself beached. By the end of the year, I will have figured out how to tell the Pro Alloys cars apart. I know they've all got different coloured wing mirrors, but there are about 8 of them, I think, in the race. So I'm sure that it will take a while to commit those different colours to memory. But despite their strength in numbers, only really Alistair Camp featuring towards the sharp end of the field now for Pro Alloys. So Thackeray leads the way. 2nd, Redford. Of course, Redford is Pro Alloys as well. How could I forget? So Redford running in 2nd position is the best of their drivers right now. Jack Harding, by the way, back into 6th place now, has set the new fastest lap of the race as Paniotto comes back up the inside of Alex Kite into Rich's corner, and that will, if he makes that stick, which he hasn't yet actually made it stick, that should put him back into 11th place though, as they head to the Wilson hairpin. Paniotto, the blue car on the inside line, and Alex Kite has no choice but to settle back in line behind him. So briefly was up into 11th place, but Leonardo Paniotto getting back through again. Bailey, by the way, still in the pit lane, unsurprisingly. So his race is done, and well, that's a real disaster based on how well his qualifying session went earlier on the front row. And of course, grid for race 2 is based in part upon the result from race 1. So he's going to be at the back for race 2, is Morgan Bailey. It's not ideal. You do have drop scores, 2 drop scores to be taken over the course of the season, but this is very early in the season to be falling back upon those drops. Really puts the pressure on now for Morgan as he goes deeper and deeper into the year. So Alistair Camp now with Jack Harding on his tail. So yeah, the point I was starting to make is that Jack Harding has set the fastest lap. He's got that bonus point. He's clearly flying. He's not likely to win this race, although I didn't think Matt Luff was likely to win the championship at this stage of the final race last season, so I won't count any chickens just yet. But Jack Harding moving around the outside of Alistair Camp. A podium possible? Well, 4th is possible, isn't it? He's just taken 5th away from Camp. Edmondson is only a 2nd up the road, but then it's another 3 seconds or more to Louis Cappozzoli in 3rd position. I kind of hope Jack Harding gets on the podium because I want to know what happened. I want to know how he ended up off the road at the Wilson hairpin. Sliding their way through Murray's corner, side-by-side action further back, and that's Paniotto trying to go around the outside and succeeding in going around the outside of Ryan Bensley. And what's happened to Bensley then? Because he was in 8th at the start of the lap. He isn't anymore, is he? Because Hobson and Nicolau and now potentially Paniotto have gone through, although Bensley's trying to fight back. Yes, he's down into 11th, so Ryan's had some sort of a whoopsie. Alex Kite trying to come through with Leo Paniotto, and will do so. So that puts Bensley down into 12th position. So, yeah, 4 places lost there by Ryan. And Dean McDonald may be about to make that a 5th place because he's going round the outside of all of them into the Wilson hairpin. He gets past Bensley, and I think he might get Kite as well. So the Ben Sharp racing car is making some really good moves. Everyone at the Wilson hairpin always clamours for the inside line, and if you're feeling brave, you can steam around the outside of them. You can break a lot later on the outside line and use that to great effect, gaining 2 spots. Look at this though, 6 or 7 of them absolutely together. So this is Paniotto 10th, Bensley back, McDonald into 11th, excuse me, Kite 12th, 13th then for Knight, 14th for Bensley now, and that's Jack Riddell in the number 19 coming through. So Bensley's got a problem, hasn't he? He's pulling out of the way there of Riddell too. So Ryan Bensley's return to the championship, unfortunately, not going the way he would have liked. Big crowd on hand there, you can see on the banking at Palmer's, enjoying the show. They picked the right place to go and watch, didn't they, with all of that early rally crossing action that we saw at that part of the track. There are a lot of spectators here today on what is the opening day of a 2-day event. Main race day, of course, tomorrow. Expecting even more people to turn up, especially if they're watching this race, because they won't want to miss out not only on TCR action tomorrow, but the Milltek Sports Civic Cup, which never like to be outshone by TCR. And honestly, their racing is every bit as exciting, it must be said. Max Edmondson has now succumbed to the pressure from Jack Harding, so Jack is back into 4th place. His gap to Capazzoli, well, we'll see for sure at the end of the lap, but it's going to be somewhere in the region of 2.5 to 3 seconds, I think, and he will only have 1 more lap to go. So maths never was my strongest subject, but I'm not convinced that Jack Harding is going to have time to get back onto the podium here. Thackeray leading the way. Will Redford's car in 2nd position. Capazzoli 3rd. Yeah, the gap between Capazzoli and Harding is 2.3 seconds. That wasn't a bad guess. There goes Edmondson defending from Alistair Camp. And Camp struggling to find a way back through. Harvey Caton's sort of got back into the mix as well now. Started 8th in Harvey, he's in 7th, but sniffs an opportunity now to gain some more places. Harvey last year was the reversed grid king, wasn't he? He seemed to always find himself near the front thanks to the reversed grid races, and would certainly stick his elbows out to try and stay at the front. Sometimes that worked better than others, but he was always spectacular to watch, was Harvey. And he will certainly be looking for more consistency in 2023. Will that factor into the way in which he tries to race Alistair Camp and Max Edmondson ahead of him, I wonder. Through Hamilton for the final time. The Area Motorsport driver, Max Edmondson. In some ways, you could say the replacement to Alistair Camp, because Camp has just left Area Motorsport. Max Edmondson's joined Area, who are the team to be with, or have always been the team to be with in Civic Cup racing, but we've seen in recent years that they've had it increasingly less their own way. Pro Alloys Racing certainly now outnumbering them, but it looks as though it could well be Dan Thackeray who comes out on top in this one. It's only a couple of corners from home now, and Dan Thackeray in his Motion Motorsport car is going to, well and truly, take it to the big teams. Will Redford's not giving up, is he? He's been dropping back a few tenths a lap, but he's pushing hard here, even in the closing stages. But it looks as though Dan Thackeray is going to claim the opening victory of the season. He's going to win the race from pole position. A pretty boring and eventful race then, by the sounds of it, but that is far from the truth. It was a typically manic first half of the race in particular, but through it all survives Dan Thackeray to take the opening win of the season. 2nd place goes to Will Redford, and on the podium is going to be Louis Capazzoli on his debut. Fantastic drive that from the 199 car. Jack Harding will be frustrated, honestly, with 4th position. He got to within 1.1 seconds, though, of Capazzoli on the last lap and set the fastest lap trying, so that's worth that bonus point for Jack Harding. Then Max Edmondson, Alistair Camp, Harvey Caton, Danny Hobson, Sam Nicolau and Leo Paniotto, and then a big scrum across the line. That was the group of cars just outside, or at the back, in fact, of the top 10. So Paniotto, McDonald, Knight, Riddell and Kite was the order, 10th through 14th, ahead of Charlier, Jordan Brennan, Dave Marshall, Luke Sargent, and then the number 20 car of James Ramsden. Top 20 completed by Adam Kruger. And Ryan Bensley, it looks like, might have retired altogether on the final lap of the race, which is a shame. There's Jordan Brennan, new livery on that repaired car, repaired after his Park accident last year. As the rest of them come through, of course, only one class to worry about this year. Well, one class, sort of. The cars all running to the Cup class specification. The production class is no more, but we do have 3 classes of driver. There is, of course, the overall championship, which everyone is eligible for, but also we have the Goodyear Diamond Trophy, which is for drivers aged over 40. I think we only had 3 entrants in that class this weekend, and was it Mark Hughes who got the win? Mark Hughes finished 22nd in that race. Jeff Oldham was a non-starter, and Anthony Gannon was 24th. So yes, Mark Hughes, I think, will claim the victory in the Goodyear Diamond Trophy. There is also the Paul Winfield Memorial Trophy. Now that is for drivers who have not scored an overall win or podium in either 2021 or 2022. The vast majority of the grid are eligible for that. I would imagine Will Redford was the winner of that class. No, he was not eligible because he's had a podium, hasn't he? So Capezzoli will get it then, surely. Yes, he is eligible for the Paul Winfield Trophy, so Louis Capezzoli in 3rd place will get the trophy win as well. And that's a trophy that is very close to the hearts of many members of the Milltek Sports Civic Cup grid. Paul Winfield was the father of Bruce Winfield, who was a former champion in the Civic Cup. Nowadays, of course, having success in TCR. We sadly lost Paul over the winter, and he is really sadly missed by everyone in the paddock. So our thoughts go out to the Winfield family, and we are really pleased to be able to name the trophy in honour of Paul Winfield. So Dan Thackeray then claims the overall race victory. Will Redford 2nd, Louis Capezzoli in 3rd, and Jack Harding and Max Edmondson complete the top 5. Alistair Camp was 6th ahead of Harvey Caton, with Danny Hobson, Sam Nicolau and Dan McDonald completing the top 10. Leonardo Paniotti was 11th ahead of Tom Knight, Jack Riddell and Alex Kite down in 14th after a bit of an up and down race. 15th position then is where we found Charlie at number 46 in 15th spot, followed by Jordan Brennan and Dave Marshall with Luke Sargent in 18th position. There they are, James Ramsden 19th and Adam Kruger completing the top 20. Adam Jones was 21st ahead of Mark Hughes, who, as I said, I believe will be the Goodyear Diamond Trophy winner. Then it was Owen Hillman, Anthony Gannon, and Jackson White, with Ryan Bensley not running at the flag, nor, significantly, was Morgan Bailey. Morgan Bailey, having qualified on the front row, led early on, retiring from the lead with suspected gearbox problems that did affect him, of course, in qualifying earlier on. So Dan Thackeray then the winner of our opening race of the weekend for Milltek Sports Civic Cup. They'll be back in action again tomorrow. 11:15 is when you can catch the Milltek Sports Civic Cup action, and that is going to be a race you won't want to miss. Reverse grid, guaranteeing some action. So, racing completed then for today in the Civic Cup. Let's head down and get all of the reaction from Anthony Jordan.
Thank you very much, Andy. Yes, well, I don't want to say it was an eventful race. Well, it was an eventful race because we saw drivers battling for the leader all the way through that one, but Dan Thackeray does take the race win at the end of that one. Now, there was a little bit of confusion. Drivers will be coming down to the 1, 2, 3s in just a moment, but they've actually all stopped over here as I'm going to get run over by a Pro Alloys little golf buggy. No, I'm not. It's going away. Good. Right. Let's have a look then. So let's have a chat. Well, we've got to find them first now. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's start with P3. Louis Capezzoli.
Oh, yeah.
Now, debuting in the Civic Cup, and you get your first podium on the first race.
Yeah, it's a bonus. It was well happy. I was really happy. Just wanted to pick up some good points. You know, it's a long year. We saw with Matt last year, like, points matter, but, you know, when it all fell to me and I took the 3rd, I was just happy to just try and keep consistent and keep the laps going, and thankfully, you know, obviously Harding behind was really fast, but time ran out and managed to get that podium.
It was a solid drive all the way throughout, and the start wasn't too bad either.
Yeah, I lacked a little bit off the line. I think I kind of cost myself a little bit then, but obviously, you know, made some good moves on Alistair and stuff, and just made put my car in the right places. I think that the dirt at turn 3 kind of threw everyone off. But like I say, that's why this grid's so good, and everyone managed to get through it, and thankfully we all had a good race.
Yeah, threw everyone off, not off the track though, but yeah, mentally maybe. But yeah, solid result, happy with P3 and feeling confident going into the next race?
Yeah, obviously reverse grid, so same as again really, from 7th kind of drive through, try and pick up some places on the early laps and just settle down, you know, get into a rhythm.
Well, solid result, congratulations Lou, we'll enjoy that one. Let's go a little further down the order, and I've got drivers being brought to me now. But by that time, well, where are they? Where are they?
Mark.
Well, okay. Right, just quickly. Right, Mark. Well, pretty solid result.
Well, there was only, what, for old Giffers? Yeah, I'm happy. I did a bit of change up. Me and Dave sort of had a quick word and sort of go straight for springs. Just not used to it, so started to get the times. The fastest time was my last lap, actually, so I was quite pleased. I'm getting there. Just the car's a bit slow. I think find all FN2s are getting a bit slow, but anyway.
You say the car's slow, but you get the fastest lap.
My fastest, no, my...
Oh, your fastest lap, not the fastest lap.
No, my personal fastest lap. So, but yeah, no, it's a working thing, these FN2s, but we'll get there.
Yeah, well, brilliant. Congratulations, well done, well done. Other drivers has gone. Right, okay. Well, I think we might have to head down here because all the drivers are going down there. Will, right, so you're heading this way. I don't know what's happening. P2, are you happy with that one?
Yeah, I mean, solid start to the year, innit? Right now I've been asked to be in like 3 different places at once, so I don't really know where I'm meant to be, but no, it was a solid race. I mean, these cars it's so hard to close the gap once the gap's open because we're all exactly the same speed. So, you know, I was pushing Faccarini, he was holding on to it, he didn't make any mistakes, so fair play to him, he came away with the win, but I'm happy with second.
As Civic races go, that was quite a tame one. Did you think the same from your position?
Yeah, I mean, normally you don't really get gaps like that especially between the top 3 cars, but I mean, it's good from my point of view because I don't have to fight anyone for the podium, so I'm happy with it.
Confidence booster for tomorrow as well?
Definitely. I mean, I think qualifying, I knew I had the pace, but I didn't quite show it. Whereas now I know, you know, I'm on the pace, so we'll see how it goes tomorrow.
Well, there you go. It's taking the words quite literally out of your mouth. Congratulations, mate. P2.
Thank you.
Excellent. Let's try and find Mr. Dan Thackeray, who is right behind. Look at that. It's like you're lining them up for me. Dan, well, pole position. You got 6 points for the championship for that. A win here. That's another 40.
Yeah, it was nice to get a win. It was looking tough at one point. Me and Morgan got a really good even start, and we were battling well for the first lap. And there's quite a lot of overtaking places, so defending heavily. He got a really good run on me in the back straight, and he was either going to go left or right. I mean, I picked my position, and he made a nice move around the outside. I was like, let him go. We'll have a fight with him. And then I don't know what happened. I think it looks like car failure maybe, unfortunately, and gave me the lead, and just had to keep the gap really to wheel behind.
We spoke to Louis just very briefly about the dirt that got kicked onto the track at turn 3. How did you find that when you first went through it?
I'd forgot about that until you said it. Yeah, I mean, me and Morgan knew nothing about it, and we both came around there at full tilt. And I thought, oh, we've just got to go for it at race pace and hope for the best. And in the end, it was like ice, and we both went wide onto the grass. Left us an interesting moment breaking into the hairpin, but and that's how Jack caught us back up. But yeah, luckily we didn't spin it around, kept it on the black stuff.
Solid start to the season, a pole and a first race win. Confidence booster for tomorrow. You looking forward to it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it was nice to keep a good gap and try and put some consistent laps in. Starting P10 tomorrow is going to be interesting. The reverse grid's always really tricky because a lot of the guys here have got very similar pace. So how far forward we could get, if at all, unknown. It's all about the first lap there again, but I'll give it my best. See where we end up.
Best of luck. Congratulations for today.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Excellent stuff there for our top 3. And like you say, the reverse grid for tomorrow, that's really going to spice things up on the grid for the Milltek Sport Civic Cup in 2023. Make sure you stay tuned for all of that. That will be coming up tomorrow. But from us down here, it's goodbye for now.
And we are racing, and it's an absolutely electric start with the 42 of Will Redford from the wide entry. That's a racing line. Will Redford drifting the back end quite a bit, but look at that, the massive lunge up the inside by Matt Ruff on Alistair Camp through the first couple of corners.
Huge lock-up.
That's a 66.
It's terrible.
Catching on the outside. Dropped on. Oh, big off. Straight in the gravel trap. Both cars out. Winning earlier on, and look, this is trying to go round to the outside. Now this is probably the move of the day. Second place, oh, big sideways moment.